This time on the show, recycle that spare PC and build a Proxmox home virtualization server. All that and more, this time on Hak5.
Yeah, hook me up, I'm ready.
This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Nokia and the Calling All Innovators contest. GoToAssist Express supports smarter with GoToAssist Express. And domain.com. Got a great idea? It all starts with a great domain. Domain.com.
Hello and welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen and this is your weekly dose of TechnoLess. We've got a great show for you guys this week. Jason Applebaum is going to be joining us to wrap up the series on programming with the Qt SDK. And I'm playing with some virtualization because I've got an old computer and I need to give it new life. And you know, I bet you do, like in your closet or under your bed or wherever it may be. Dude, just because it's only a dual core, I know, right? Only a dual core. Give it some new life. Let's go ahead and talk about virtualizing and putting together a home virtual server. Much like we did at the end of Season 9 with the wall-mounted guy here, we're actually putting together a new one. That one was based off of Sun's VirtualBox, and this one, I'm having a lot of fun with a piece of technology that was put together to make virtualization easy for the enterprise. It's called Proxmox-VE, and I just thought that we would just go ahead and dive right in the A block because, hey, why not, man? I mean, this is actually my old editing rig, and I'm so happy to be bringing some new life to it because we have this really cool project slated for Season 9 that I think you guys are really going to enjoy because we're going to get you involved in it. Includes this, so it's going to be very, very cool. But I've been getting actually a couple of emails regarding virtualization, basically saying, what is virtualization? And all right, well, let's just run through real quick before we get our hands dirty in this great little Linux distro. But basically, virtualization is having something virtually rather than a physical version of it. So, you know, something such as a server, something such as a router that you would think of as a physical device, you can go ahead and emulate with software. Think of physical machines and virtual machines like a kitten and a Tamagotchi. You know, both can be pet and fed and purr, but only one of them can scratch your face off. Isn't that right, Kirby? Now, why virtualize? Well, there's actually a bunch of reasons. I mean, first of all, you get to actually increase your hardware utilization. I mean, most of the time a server's sitting there, say like it's a mail server, and it's just waiting for somebody to check their email so they can do something, or somebody to send them an email so it can, yeah. And if you administer a Windows server, hit Control-Shift-Escape, go over to the Process tab, and watch that that CPU just sit there and idle, right? Well, you're wasting your CPU if it's not doing anything. It's probably getting really bored, and that's how Skynet is born, or something like that. So go ahead and get the most out of your your Xeon or your quad core or whatever it may be. Also, space and electricity. You know, you may not have like a ton of room in your server rack and you need to deploy new servers. Hey, there you go. If you've got a 2U box that can do double duty, why not? And, you know, as long as you can save some electricity, save the planet, Captain Hero style, and there we go, right? But to be honest, the thing that I love the most is just the ability to do backups and load balancing and migration. And that is to say, hey, I want to back up my server. Not I want to back up all of the mail data. No, forget that, dude. Back up the entire server, make a clone of it. What if you could just like shoot a ray gun at your like mail server and boop, there'd be a second copy of it in case something went wrong, right? Yeah, because restoring MTA stacks and stuff like that, it's not fun. You gotta rebuild a box and then import your stuff and configure all the doodads. That's sysadmin speak there for, yeah. But no, load balancing is really great because, for example, with the product that we're talking about today, this free and open source product, we can actually do live migrations, and that is to say we can have a machine, a virtual machine running on one box, and then we can push it over to another physical box running the same software. So we can kind of, you know, move around our toys, if you will, into the different toy boxes and see how they fit the best, you know? And you know, this is something that you may be like, well, but I'm not a systems administrator. I don't, you know, run a data center or anything like that. But dude, you're a geek, and you know, I don't care if your, you know, bedroom is a NOC or you've just got a laptop. It's a great way to, you know, build a home server, or even on your desktop, just to play with some virtualization, because it's a perfect way to experiment with new servers. when I got started doing this stuff, I was getting the cheapest hardware I could from the, local, gosh, do you guys remember computer shows where you'd like go to the exhibition center and there would be all these vendors set up and stuff? And anyway, spent a lot of time when I was young buying used old hardware, putting together machines and networking them so that I could just learn networking, so that I could, learn how to build all this stuff, which, led into a better career path and good stuff. So, have fun with that. Also, dude, exploits, having fun with, fun little tools like, Nmap and Metasploit. Why not build yourself a virtual network? Because then you can just like have all the packet disaster fun you want, because even the network, even the switch is virtualized. It's all happening inside the computer. How great is that? So yeah, I mean, that guy is actually running a copy of the latest Backtrack. I got a couple of Ubuntu machines on there, and then a couple of Windows machines, which are fun to throw attacks at. And so also running, we've talked about home media services and ways that you can, get your like MP3s streaming to your cell phone or whatever it may be. There's no reason to dedicate hardware for that. So, I think that it's a great way if you've got a home network, and you're thinking about, oh, I've already got, network attached storage and a banging like Untangle or pfSense or monowall or smooth wall router going on. Maybe you might want to consider, playing with some new distros and stuff inside of a virtual home server. At least that's the way I think about it. So we're going to be using the product Proxmox-VE, and it's just a really kick-ass virtualization suite that some of you guys actually turned me on to, and I've been having a lot of fun playing with it. It differs a lot from like when we put together the Ubuntu machine running VirtualBox. This is really meant to be for small businesses, enterprises, to be able to deploy very, very quickly, and also to deploy applications very quickly, because they have like everyone has an app store these days. They have one of those, if you will, a virtual appliance marketplace where you can go and just be like, oh, hey, mail server, that sounds great, and click, and then it downloads straight to the box, and boom, you've got a mail server. Just config away, forward some MX records, read the DNS episode. That was a lot of acronyms, but hey, it makes it really easy to go ahead and get started and play with all those, fun technologies without having to spend a lot of time doing installations and all the mucky work. So that's why I'm playing with it, and I think that it's neat that it actually supports two different types of virtualization. So I should preface this by saying that it is built on a foundation of Linux. It's actually based on Debian Lenny. It's 4 64-bit machines, and it supports both OpenVZ and KVM. So what are those two? OpenVZ is container virtualization, and what that means is it's OS level. It's based on the Linux kernel, and it creates these isolated zones or containers, if you will. You may have seen like terms like VPS or virtual private servers, or VE for virtual environments. That's what those are. The trick here, though, is that both your host and your guest operating systems, the computers that are going to be running inside of this machine, need to be Linux. So it's great for that, though, because your performance in that case gets really close to what it would be natively on that hardware. So while this is a Debian box now running this Proxmox-VE software, when I throw like an Ubuntu machine on there, or I could throw an Arch Linux if I wanted to be KRAD Ultra Elite. Sorry, Gentoo, just saying. There you go. I would get like near the bare metal performance that I would if I were just to put that operating system on solely. But you're not limited to just running Linux on this Linux box. I mean, like we talked about with putting together, a test network for, testing out hacks and stuff, right? Well, you're going to need a couple of Windows boxes, because what else? I mean, that's like the most fun to pop, right? So for that, we're going to need full virtualization, which is where KVM comes in. And I'm not talking about keyboard and video and mouse. I'm actually talking about kernel to burnable. Anyway, kernel-based virtual machines. And kernel-based virtual machines is just another way to do virtualization that in this case is going to allow you to run not just Linux, but any operating system, whether it be Windows XP, Windows Server 7, Vista. I don't know why you would do that. But the cool thing about KVM is that it supports the Intel VT technology or the AMD V technology. And that's some really good stuff. It's actually these extensions in your CPU that'll allow the virtualization to actually happen more efficiently. And like I said, a lot of different variety of operating systems. I mean, hell, you could throw OS 10 on there if you, I guess, if you had a legit copy of OS 10 and wanted to kind of tweak around. But the thing is, this is, Proxmox-VE. It is going to require a bit of a machine, right? So let's just go ahead and talk about the hardware here. I'm recycling this box. I get so many questions about the hardware that I use, so we'll touch on that later in the show. But suffice it to say, if you're looking to, like if you're enticed already and you're thinking about that machine that's like sitting under your bed, want to bring some new life into it, I gotta say, this product is going to require that it's going to be a 64-bit Intel or AMD machine with Intel VT or AMD V. That is to say, if you want to use KVM. If you don't, there's an unofficial way that you can do it on a 32-bit machine and just use the OpenVZ technology, which will allow you to virtualize all the Linux machines you want. But really, for the best way to go, you do want to have a 64-bit machine. So this may not be great for that 486 in the closet, right? In fact, donate that somewhere, something, I don't know. I don't even know what to do with 486. I think at this point, the power requirements outweigh the usefulness. But a machine like this is perfect for, it's my old editing machine right before I switched to i7. So, that's got that taken care of. You would like to have at least a gig of RAM, preferably 4 or more. And you would like either well, obviously you'll need a hard drive or, a RAID array, which is always fun because that's what these guys are for. I don't know if you can see that, but these enclosures. Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about the enclosures last week. I was a kind of a strange A block last week. We're not going to get too much into that, but I'm feeling a lot better, let's put it that way. So, so you'll either need a RAID or a hard drive, and you're going to need 1 or more network cards, right? And basically, any hardware that's supported by Debian Lenny 64-bit is really going to work. So, if you go over to their wiki, they actually have some links to, if you don't feel like, scrounging around a machine and making sure that the hardware is compatible and stuff. There's actually a couple of machines, I think one's from like HP or Dell or something, that you can just go ahead and buy. So, hey, I say go ahead and have some fun with this. I walk you through the install, but here's the thing. That is what this product is really kind of famous for, if you will, because it, while you could install on top of Debian Lenny, it's so much easier to just go ahead, download the ISO, burn it to a CD, boot off of it, and I gotta tell you, from there, it's maybe 8 keystrokes. You gotta hit enter, and then type in a username and a password. As long as your network cable is plugged in and it's DHCP, it'll already get an address. I mean, I'd prefer you to static it, but what else is there? Yeah, you gotta tell it your time zone. I know, it's so difficult. So, forget walking through the install. In fact, I already got that going on. So I advise you to go ahead over to proxmox.com, check it out. And when we get back, I'm going to be walking you through the interface, how to actually do some fun stuff with it. Let's set up some virtual machines. But I know we're already a little long. And you guys, I know that you're probably dying to find out what's going on with trivia. Shannon's somewhere new now, and my hands are going everywhere. So we'll be right back. Yeah.
Last week's trivia question was, with over 5,000 free and commercial plugins, this open source content management system was forked from Mambo in August of 2005, and the answer was Joomla. This week the trivia question is, in Tron Legacy, what hacking program is portrayed as the more advanced incarnation of the original hacking program? Answer over at hak5.org/trivia for your chance to win some sweet Hak5 swag. We'll be right back after a brief. If you work with clients and colleagues to resolve computer issues, I have an incredible remote support tool that will make you look like a hero while saving you time and money and boosting productivity. GoToAssist Express, brought to you by Citrix, lets you easily resolve computer issues in real time or after hours while your customers are away from their computers, allowing you to be more productive. In fact, on average, GoToAssist Express users report a 40% increase in productivity. That's like getting 2 extra workdays back a week. Hak5 viewers can try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days. For this special offer, visit gotoassist.com/hak5. That's gotoassist.com/HAK5 for a free trial.
Want a chance to win a new phone? How about $250,000? Nokia and AT&T have launched the $10 million Calling All Innovators North America contest, challenging app developers and game developers to create the next level of apps for consumers in the US and Canada for the Nokia N8 and OV store using the new Nokia Qt SDK. The contest will have 2 phases, and winners will be selected by app performance in the OV store by a panel of judges. Winners will receive Nokia devices, cash prizes up to $250,000, and even potentially inclusion in a $1.9 million marketing campaign for their app. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be doing a rundown of how to get started using the Nokia Qt SDK. The ins and outs, if you will, with our old friend Jason Applebaum. And this week, it's a little bit more on building our time-lapse camera application.
So over the last few weeks, we've been showing you how to create your first Qt application for the Symbian platform. We've gone over how to get your IDE set up. We've gone over how to, really get your first layout set up. And then we've wrapped it up with, how to include some really advanced beta functionality. Well, now that you've gone about developing your application, you got to distribute it. So I'm going to show you how to package your application for the OV store. It's really, really simple. All you need to do is open up from your start menu. It's the Qt Symbian command prompt. It's under Qt Creator and then Symbian command prompt. Really simple. All you need to do is navigate to the directory of your application. Then as soon as you clean your directory, you're going to run qmake. All right, now that qmake is run, it's gone and built out everything out so that once you clean it out, it basically cleans out all your profile settings. So the qmake runs on your profile to build out the actual Qt project file. So then what you're going to do to build the project is just make release gcce. And that'll go through building your SIS file. This will take a minute. Okay, it's all done. Let's check it out.
There's the SIS file, all done, ready to go for the OV store.
You can either sign it yourself through certs that
You can get through the OV store
by being a registered developer, a publisher. Registering costs $1 at publisher.ovi.com. It's a really simple process, and it allows you to go through and select, I'm going to create a Qt application, and it allows you to submit screenshots and all those sort of things to get your stuff recognized, to get it published on the store. There's also a revenue stream so you can get paid for your applications you create. But if you're not going to go the OVI route and you're just going to distribute it yourself and you want it to be able to be to put on other phones, you need to sign it yourself through the symbiansigned.com, and that will allow you to submit the .sis file and submit all your credentials, and it'll sign it for it'll sign it by yourself for your IMEI, your unique identifier for your phone, or you can have it signed in a way that does not check the IMEI of the phone, and you can give it out to all your friends. So now that all that's complete, you're in the store, you're published, let's go back and take a look at what it took to get to this point. Where it all starts is the Qt Creator. The Qt Creator is kind of your haven of, the start point for everything, because this is your IDE. It's how you get things going. So Qt Creator is available from qt.nokia.com. Then you're going to need to get the TKR app on your phone. It comes with the Qt Creator. It's just an application that is kind of like a staging area for new code coming out of the Qt Creator. That will allow you to hit run and show up on the phone, as opposed to going through and building .sis files for every single time and manually pushing it over to the phone. Then take a look at the UI layouts. UI layouts under the designer, it's just once you've created your new project, there's a designer tab. You hit designer, it's a drag and drop interface that allows you to go through and create your Qt applications before, see kind of what they look like before you have to mess around with the code, so you have an idea of what you're dealing with, so you're not like blindly assigning pixels. And it also helps with different screen sizes, so that you can set ratios and set balance, as opposed to this is exactly at 50% of the screen, it's 50 pixels in. Well, 50 pixels in on a 300 wide screen is a lot different than 50 pixels in on a 600 wide screen. It looks a lot different. One's jammed all the way in the corner, and one's, a good bit into the halfway center screen. And then, once you've kind of done your layout, you got to play around with more in-depth APIs. Like I took advantage of the camera APIs. And then, packaging it. We just covered packaging at the beginning. So you go from start to finish. So you start out with the Qt Creator and you end up with your Smart Installer all packaged up. If you guys want to see more on this subject, email me, jason@hak5.org. Or if you have any questions or specifically targeted towards Qt, head on over to the forums.nokia.com.
The Nokia Qt SDK brings the popular Qt Creator IDE from the desktop and embedded worlds to mobile developers so they can build native apps for the Symbian 3 devices, like the Nokia N8. Now, developers can submit their apps by January 28th to be involved, and we just want to thank Nokia for sponsoring today's show. Now, like I said, the Proxmox-VE installation is dead simple. Seriously, you boot off the CD, click a few times, enter a password, you're done. And it will go ahead and say, hey, why don't you just reboot me and we're all set to go. You don't actually have to do anything with this physical machine anymore. It's all done over a beautiful web interface. They'll say, here's the IP address that I've got on the network. Go ahead, HTTPS, my IP, we're good to go, right? So go ahead and eject that CD-ROM, maybe throw it in the closet or wherever you put your servers in your home, and you're all set. So let's go ahead and log in from the laptop. And if you're keeping track at home, this would be the 5th laptop I have now had on the show. This is the new one so that I can edit from the CES show floor. Awesome, good stuff coming from CES and ShmooCon in January, by the way. But I got to give a big thumbs down to whatever this machine is. Let's see, it's another Asus. This is the N53JF, and it's really not the Asus that's the big problem. It's the NVIDIA Optimus stuff, and it's where they've got the discrete graphics, NVIDIA, and then they've got the integrated Intel stuff, but there's some special software that switches in between, and oh yeah, NVIDIA doesn't support it on Linux, and all of their drivers are binary, and it's a big, like, F you to open source, and it's like, come on, you know? So here I am back in Windows. Like, I want to be here. You know, I got my Ubuntu virtual machine running, but that's not what we're here for. Anyway, let's put some Windows boxes and some Linux boxes on our new virtual machine, and I'll deal with this later. But so with that all aside, get VirtualBox out of the way, and so I've headed over to the IP address of our new Proxmox-VE server, and since it is a self-signed certificate, we're going to have to go ahead and proceed through this. You can actually download the certificate, so since it is self-signed, that's not an issue there. So get that hooked up so you don't need to worry about anything fishy on your LAN. I trust this environment, so we're all good. Go ahead and log in as root. You set up the password as part of the installation. And you're greeted with this beautiful little screen here that tells you all about your machine and what its resources are. So speaking of machines, I told you that I hate this laptop, but man, this editing rig has done me so well. I think that did like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 seasons of Hak5. It's a Intel Core 2 Quad Q9550 at 2.83. I've overclocked it successfully to 3.2. Beautiful chip with 12 megs L2. Yes, 8 gigs of RAM, and I don't have it in a RAID right now, but whatever. Anyway, this machine is a decent smoking box for a virtual server, and man, it is gonna get a pounding too, because we are throwing some really good stuff on it that you guys will hopefully get involved in a little later. But yeah, so we can see our stats here. And if I go over to virtual machines, I can see I've got a plethora of these already set up, you know. Now here's what's really neat, the appliance templates. Now we've talked about virtual appliances before. I think it's episode 617 is a really good one to reference for that. But just like VirtualBox has virtual appliances and their, you know, VirtualBox Marketplace or whatever they want to call it, this has something very similar. We go over here to downloads, right? And like they've got their own mail gateway. You know, you could. We've talked about Xenos before. Xenos Core IT monitoring, good stuff, right? Here it is. Boom, hit start download, and it starts downloading the ISO to your machine, and there's nothing more that you need to think about. So we can also, you know, manually put ISO images, you know, images of CDs of operating systems ready to go on here by just going over to ISO images, clicking choose file, selecting a file, hitting upload, and I've had no problem uploading like 600, 700, 800 meg ISOs right over the network, no problem. Under configuration, you would expect the same basic kind of stuff under system. We can configure our networks. Currently, this machine only has 1 network interface card. If it had 2, we could, you know, add another bridge. There's also bonding where we could, you know, say this network card is physically bound to this virtual machine. And then we can also do some nifty stuff with NAT. So we're going to get into that a little bit later, but we're going to have a lot of fun with the networking here. your basic admin stuff where you can change the, the DNS, the time, password, all that. Storage-wise, like I said, not in a RAID, but we could add storage here. There's also a backup scheme where we can add jobs. Under administration, this is so cool. Okay, server, right? Well, this is just a Debian server. So we can see all the services running, but you could log in at the local terminal here, log in as root, add whatever services, there you go, right? This is also where we download the certificate. And then, we can just go ahead and check out logs and then cluster, which is really cool, because imagine this. That guy running Ubuntu and VirtualBox, we could put Proxmox-VE on him, and then all of a sudden we could build ourselves a virtual machine cluster and migrate stuff back and forth. Let me show you that. All right, so we got a virtual machine set up. Check this out, migrate tag, but no cluster yet. But that'd be so cool, move machines around. All right, anyway, so let's go ahead and create a machine, because that's like the first thing you want to do when you get something like this set up. It's like, dude, let's run some machines already, right? So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through creating a new machine, and let's just create a Windows box because we're going to be having fun with those in Season 9. So we're going to have to choose KVM in this case because, like we talked about, OpenVZ only doing the Linux stuff. And then our CD-ROM device is where we choose the ISO in our inventory. We're going to choose the default 32 gigs, name it something like Expendable 18. I'm only going to give it 256 of RAM because, it's a Windows box. And here we have the option to start at boot. Now, if this were, for instance, like a mail server, and like I'm talking about, Proxmox is a great SOHO solution. If you've got a small office, if you've got a small business, even if you're just a home user wanting to test out the latest and greatest, this is a great solution. And being able to have those virtual machines start on boot, that and the quickness of the installation and the fact that they have those appliances make this a great way to get quickly set up. So, so this is one of those where, like, if this was like a mail server or something, a file server, I would totally check this box. Considering it's an expendable Windows box, it's not happening. Now, image format is interesting because they do have a couple options here, including VMDK. So that would make this virtual machine a lot more portable if, say, we wanted to move that physical file over to a desktop and run it in, VMware or VirtualBox, right there on their desktop. I'm just going to leave it at raw. Since it is a Windows machine, I'm going to leave this as IDE. Could do it SCSI if it was a Linux machine. And then under network cards, we've got a plethora to choose from. The default's fine, but supposedly there is a performance improvement if we go ahead and choose this one here on our Windows machines. We've got it set up to our bridge. There's not much more to go, so we just go ahead and hit create. Creates the machine. If I go back over to my list, I'll find it right here at the bottom, Expendable 18. And let's go ahead and start that machine, start our installation, get it on the network, all that good stuff. Simply hit start here. Now, we've talked about how VirtualBox has that awesome RDP ability where we can use an RDP client to connect to any of the machines on our virtual server using, remote desktop protocol, whether it's a Windows machine or a Linux machine, and I think that is so cool. This doesn't do that, but it uses VNC, which is also an excellent remote desktop application. So if we actually click Open VNC Console, this is probably one of the better implementations of a web VNC console that I've ever seen. It does require Java, so we have to accept that and hit run. But once we've got that going, hey, there we go. I got a Windows installation going right now, NTFS quick format. A few minutes later, I'm going to have an XP box for you guys to have fun with. Come here really soon. So yeah, that's just a quick little rundown of what you can do with this, what the power of it is. As you can see, we were able to set this up in just minutes. Head over to virtual machines. I got plenty of machines running on this. So think about that box that you've got sitting in the closet. If you've got some spare 64-bit machines, this is a really cool piece of software to play with. I definitely will be doing a lot more of that here real soon, getting into more of the clustering and the networking and stuff like that. But of course, I'm interested in what you guys think, since you guys are the ones that really turned me on to this piece of software to begin with. So feel free to hit me up at feedback@hak5.org with any of your questions or suggestions of things that you'd like to see us do with virtualization in the future. All right. Well, with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, Shannon's going to be joining us to wrap this all up.
Hey, buddy. Why the long face?
My friend Frank from the evil darknet.
Wait, there's an evil darknet?
I don't know what to get him for the holidays.
Oh, I didn't realize you celebrated. Well, who is he?
Evil Frank.
Frank.
Evil Frank. He's an Exchange 5.0 server from Ontario.
Oh dear God, that does sound evil. Well, have you thought about getting him a domain name? Like evilfrank.com?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it for my sister last year and she loved it. You gotta get your name before it's taken, man. And dude, you are in luck. You can get a .com for less than $10 a year if you go to domain.com and check out with the coupon code HAK5.
Great idea.
Oh, it's the perfect gift for those who have everything.
Everything but a domain name.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Get 15% off domain names, virtual private servers, and hosting, or even the new .me domain, and enjoy domain.com's blistering fast DNS and hosting infrastructure. Simply check out with coupon code HAK5. Got a great idea? It all starts with a great domain. Domain.com.
Clean water is one of the scarcest resources in the world. I, for one, take clean water for granted every day. We need it to survive, and yet nearly 1 billion people around the globe just don't have access to it. We want to get involved, so we're partnering with Charity Water to help make a difference. Charity Water is this organization that donates 100% of the money that it raises to building wells and bringing clean water to communities in need. They're leveraging technology in really creative ways to mobilize people around the cause, and we want you guys, our viewers, to get involved. Each show on Revision 3 is reaching out to our viewers to raise money to build wells. It takes $5,000 to build a well that can provide clean water to an entire village, so we need your help to make a difference. Go over to revision3.com/charitywater to learn more and get involved in the cause. We've already gotten quite a few donations, but we're far from reaching our $5,000 mark. I know we can do it. Come on, let's do it, guys. Now, if you guys have the technolust, like Coda Ninja with his evil server cake, which is so cute, show your pride by sending us photos over at feedback@hak5.org. And remember to get your favorite Hak5 goodies over at the hak5.org/store, Hack Store. And remember, you can support the show free and easy simply by subscribing on iTunes and YouTube. I, for one, just showed my mom how to subscribe on iTunes. Until next week, I'm Shannon Morse. Remember to trust your technolust. Woo! This is my geek dance. Ooh, I want to play DJ Hero.
And I'm talking about something just that we love to do, and I'm getting my hands dirty with a brand new piece of shit. Jason Applebaum is joining us to wrap up the and I'm having a lot of fun with virtualization, one of just great technologies that we, get, I said the word fun way too much. Isn't that right, Kirby?